challenger arrived believing, every challenger ultimately bent the knee. But today might not be about Cabras and what they have already achieved. Rather, the STANBIC Black Pirates that crossed the border carrying the hopes of an entire rugby nation. The number 56 are the years. That's how long Uganda has waited to place a club in an Enterprise Cup final. 56 years since Kampala RFC stood on this stage. 56 years of near misses, changing generations, and stories left unfinished. And perhaps that's why this moment feels heavier than just a rugby match. It's because the Pirates are not just chasing a trophy, they are chasing history. And the irony, well, history has brought them back to the very place where Uganda's greatest regional rugby memories are written. RFUEA, a ground where Kampala RFC lifted Uganda's first Enterprise Cup title in 1956. The grounds where Uganda claimed its first victory over Kenya. The grounds where the Rugby Cranes won their first Elgon Cup. The grounds where generations of Ugandan players discovered the impossible sometimes can happen. And as the Pirates walk on to the redemption song, another chapter waits to be written. One side arrives as immortal champions. The other arrives as believers. One owns the present. One is chasing the future. And somewhere between those two forces, 80 minutes of rugby will decide whether East Africa witnesses the continuation of a dynasty or the birth of legends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 Enterprise Cup Final. Welcome to RFUEA. Welcome to history in the making. A very good evening from a chilly Nairobi. My name is Jermaine Egesa, who finally understands why they call it Baridi. And it is just the moment that is set to go purely explosive. Sitting right next to me is the host who's gracious enough to allow me to go first, Elijah, who will be running us through the rest of the pre-match rituals as the STANBIC Black Pirates fans continue to chant and the KABRAS Gold and Sugar continue to lick lips in anticipation.
Thank you indeed, Jermaine. It's nice to have you from across the border coming to grace this 87th edition of the Enterprise Cup. And this is the first time, as you said, in those 56 years that we are having it as a cross-border tournament. We are looking forward to a fantastic afternoon. As you see on your screens there, those are the teams on display today. Black Pirates kicking us off. As you can see, there are quite a number of really names that you are familiar with. If you're a keen fan of rugby, you'll have seen these names donning the black and red of Uganda national colors, and they place themselves today against KABRAS Sugar, who offer stand tests against Black Pirates, littering them with a number of Kenya national team players. It's gonna be a fantastic afternoon as we see both teams going at each other for the honors, and we look forward to really establishing another history as we restart the cross-border edition of the Enterprise Cup. We are looking to sustain this year on year, and we are glad to the sponsors of both teams, STANBIC Uganda and also KABRAS Sugar, who have enabled this tournament to actually happen by sponsoring these teams to travel across the two countries. So we are looking forward to a really fantastic afternoon.
To be honest, Elijah, away from everything, away from the history, away from the banter, arguably two of the finest teams that we have playing rugby at the moment in the East African region.
Absolutely. On the other side, you know, locally, you'll have to say that KABRAS have established themselves as a dynasty. They are going for their 6th title for Enterprise. Will they do it as a 5-peat? We are yet to see. Black Pirates, on the other side, have upset the order back in Uganda, and they are looking to take off with their presence in East Africa by going for this title. So really look forward to a fantastic evening, even as we look at the teams lined up, those pre-match rituals taking place there, as we see Leslie Mwangale, the KRU director in charge of fixtures and competitions, led there by the captain of the day, Teddy Akala. Eugene Sifuna just taking him through the KABRAS setup there. Some few words exchanged there between the players and their director, as we also look trailing off your cameras there. from Uganda.
And of course, that is the president of the STANBIC Black Pirates, Daniel Chanowera, who did check in yesterday. And it was quite the thing, as we had multiple of the presidents of the clubs getting to sit down and discuss a couple of ideas. That's from the major clubs in East Africa, as Isaac Masanganzira, or better known as Massa, leads the whole team. But at the very back, at the very tail end, is none other than the vice president technical of Uganda. That is the gentleman known as Eric Butime, as he gets to get through the guard of honor and the pre-match rituals. Big stuff. It's been a while since the Ugandans were back on the East African regional stage. They came back with 4 teams. When the dust settled at the first test, the quarterfinals, only one was left standing, and that one are the Pirates, who've made it all the way to the finals.
Yeah, that journey has been very long. They have started at the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and we did have several of those matches played across border. In the quarterfinals, we had Pirates overcoming KCB with a very tight score of 11-10 in that quarterfinals. On the other hand, KABRAS took on Heathens, very worthy competitors, but that one ended one way. KABRAS overcoming them 61-19. Then they marched straight to the semi-finals. Pirates overcoming Nondis in a very tight encounter back in Uganda. That one was 2017 to book a ticket to the finals, whereas KABRAS on the other side had to take on their cousins or their sisters, Menengai Oilers, and that was equally tough semi-finals. KABRAS emerging 29-20 winners, leading us to this day, German.
Well, it's a big day. Many have been looking forward to this. Many were asking if the Pirates would probably be up to the task. They are the older team in terms of formation, but when it comes to experience at the border, at the Enterprise Cup, this is their first major foray. And you could say a lot of history is riding on their performance tonight.
Exactly. This tournament is the oldest, starting way back in 1930. We've had several winners, but right on top of that is Nondis with 25 titles, Impala 13 titles, Kenya Harlequins 10 titles. All those are Kenya clubs. But back before we had that break from 1970 on the Enterprise being cross-border, we had Kampala, the defunct Kampala, winning 4 titles. And therefore it's really a welcome sight to see STANBIC Pirates being the first one to come back and contend for this particular edition.
Well, you could say it's a bit of history doing a bit of a 360 turnaround. And for many of the Pirates fans, they'll hope that just might be the lining in the Silver Stars that could say maybe the dominance of the KABRAS could finally be broken. But that is something that you have to say with a pinch of salt for a team that's unbeaten since 2022. Almost unthinkable to put in mind.
It's really a dynasty, as we said before. Only one draw, and the rest have been victories for KABRAS. Center referee for today, Kevin Wambugu, will be assisted by the very experienced Victor Odwor, and second assistant referee, Mercy Dudi, as we kick off. STANBIC Pirates kicking us off straight just outside of KABRAS FC's 22.
Well, hold your horses. You've been waiting for this one for about a couple of weeks, for some months. Some have prayed for it. This is the time your prayers get answered, and you just might question, were you sane enough to ask for a clash of the heavyweights? KABRAS Rugby Club take on the STANBIC Black Pirates. Game on. Big kick and quick pick up here. The Pirates will look to advance. Conrad Wanyama instantly onto the ball, twisting and turning. He is one of those epitomes of not the fight in the small dog, but the heart in that small dog, and Conrad Wanyama packs a punch.
Indeed, he does, and Black Pirates will look up to him, and those years of experience that he's worn around his shoulders, they will count on him to just ensure that they play in the right areas. That kickoff was quite a good one, as we see Conrad Wanyama not accurate with that box kick, goes straight into touch, ceding territory, and putting KABRAS right back into their half. As we said before, number 10 for KABRAS, Tambeni Dukisa, coming in, up on the back of a very bad injury and then just being off, coming into KABRAS setup mid-season, And we saw him being very instrumental when Cabras won the Kenya Cup earlier on this month. Just took on those KCB on a kicking contest and won that game from his boot. And Cabras will look to him to see how that will pan out to be. So a good contest shaping up here between those two kickers.
Well, a chance here for the yellow, the gold and green as they make their way on the far end. Could be an opportunity in breaking the lines, but quickly impeded here momentarily by the Sea Robbers. Quick swing. This is good transition here from KABRAS Sugar as they get to break away into the 22, quickly brought down. The Pirates can believing they're about to find out firsthand why this team has consistently dominated anybody. Seamless, flawless, absolutely brutal with the execution.
Yes, Jaman, what a quick introduction into the match for Black Pirates. Cabras very quick with those racks, very fast turnaround from those racks, and they shift the ball out wide, keeping ball in hand, shifting it from one pair of hands to another one, keeping the defense in check, creating space outside for Derek Shundu. That ball traveled down the back line, no miss passes to ensure that the defenders cannot chase out to close the spaces. And finally, the ball beats the man. Derek Shundu goes over for the first try very early on, 3 minutes on the clock.
They'll always tell you there's an element of cold-bloodedness that's needed to be a champion. Well, that's the ruthlessness of the champions. One opportunity, one opening, one strike. This one does not make the mark, but in that instance, Cabras reminding everybody why they've won this ground for so long. This is their ground.
Indeed, early moments here. I'm sure STANBIC Pirates yet to have ball in hand, yet to enjoy some possession, yet to have some attacking ball. We are yet to see what they can be able to offer, because I know, and we've seen them throughout the Enterprise Cup campaign this season, that they pack some very fast back lines, and therefore we'll want to see them once they have ball in hand. But to do so, they have to go for these turnovers, Jaman.
You know, the irony is they'll keep telling you the crown is worn by the head, heavy is the head of the crown, or that wears the crown. But the truth is, in my opinion, a crown is never defended. It's always asked for. And to be honest, Cabras have asked for it every other instance, and nobody dared to say no. They're doing the same right now, and the Pirates are finding out firsthand how that becomes a whole nother ball game. Big kick, and that's a line out, an opportunity to contend. Well, that mindset has to quickly focus and come back into cruise control, because the Pirates, if I'm to be honest, in the Enterprise Cup, this is the first game in this season's Enterprise Cup that they are trailing.
Well, that calls for their mental attitude now, because they know they need for a fight. This is the final. These are the main honors. As we see that fantastic box kick by Roy Maruti, Cabras will always go to the boot. They will always play a territorial game. So count on them to always kick that ball for territory if they're in their own half. They will like to expend most of their energy in the opponent's half.
Well, they do make a brilliant recovery there from a bit of a mill. And that ball has to be caught on quick. Alan Karuhanga not fast enough. Space and territory gained here by Cabras. They need to get their wavelength on, or this could quickly turn from brutal to plain-faced annihilation.
Yeah, Eric Cantona, number 15 for Cabras, going for the green grass behind Black Pirates defense and finding it just shy of Pirates 22. Pirates have a defensive line out here. Both teams really good with the first few runs we've had in the lineouts. So expecting this throw from Nathan Bwambale, better known back home as Bajo.
Well, that comes from their event's appropriation, but right now they have an event that he needs to put more brains and body to, as the ball is played out onto the far flank here, trying to wave back in towards the center. The Pirates will organize. Let's look at the spread out there. The Kenyans, KABRAS Sugar, make the break once again, but this one just won't count. The warning bells are sounding. They are not taking their opponents lightly.
Yeah, very true. Very true. As you see that replay, they went from the side, came in from the side. Referee Kevin Wambugu had his eyes on that particular face play and calls KABRAS back as Eric Cantona was going for that second try. But still, early days. I mean, for me, I think Pirates have to settle in. They have to contest those set-piece areas. They have just lost their line-out. They are not applying pressure on those particular racks that KABRAS have ball in hand, denying them an opportunity to just have pressure applied on KABRAS defense. So something that they are itching for, to have that possession, that they can start testing KABRAS defense.
To be honest, there's one man who will be totally unenviable, and that is Kevin Wambugu, the man in the center. He has to make all the big calls and call them right down the center as the Pirates lose out on a line out, and this is a clean break, quickly taken down, looking to find a way through back. Quickly racking up on this one. Ball secured, looking to get it forward. Patrick Lumumbu. A nice break here coming in from Hilary Odiambo. Still holding on to the ball. Quick swing. They'll know a couple of faces here. Big tackle thrown in. And here comes Eric Cantona. They'll have to keep him down. Cantona getting pressure, smiles in. Defense has to be at its peak. This is high-octane rugby. And KABRAS are definitely looking to take it to next level. Quick switch in. Collins Ndieche held up and trying to retain possession there. That's a strong play from Ivan Kabagambe. Out onto the far end. Heavy hit. Not often that you see Nathan Bwambale sat on the seat of his pants, and they get through, but the referee will call it back for an earlier infringement. Oh my word, if you were looking for a test of speed, Black Pirates, you're getting one. If you were looking for a test of brawn, you're getting one. It might now come down to a question of how fast will you think on your feet.
Indeed, as we see there, Black Pirates barely hanging and surviving on these ropes. They are receiving so much pressure. KABRAS just knocking consistently, persistently at their try line. For Pirates, this is going to be something that they have to ride through. They have to ride through this first quarter of the game because they have been playing in their own half. As we see there, just Pirates guilty of falling over on the other side of the rack on KABRAS side. The referee penalizing and playing advantage. That particular face play ending after the ball went to deck. Trying those cutout passes to just beat the defender. Just that long pass to Patrick, and Lumumba just tried to go around, knocks it on when they get into contact, and that curtails that even as Griffin Chow tries to go over. Patrick Sabatia has been really a stalwart for KABRAS Sugar, a real fetcher of the ball, carries very strongly on those wide channels out on the 15-meter mark, something that Pirates have to be aware of and prepare to defend those channels quite well. But here, KABRAS going for an attacking scrum down, 5 meters out. They didn't go for the 3 points. They are looking for the 5.
They have the ball, they have the sport, they have the muscle to try and come through, and they'll quickly look to set it out, and that could be, we'll wait for the referee's call, but that definitely looked like it would be a knock-on and a much needed lifeline here for the Sea Robbers.
Much needed, you say, Jermaine. Really, they were going to have to contend with a quick run outside Griffin Chow, but Tambeni Dukisa, that's one of the highlight reels you'll put in the highlight reels because he has really sure hands. But I think just the moment getting to him, the opportunity, he just saw the opportunity and passed the ball before the ball got to him, causing that knock-ons. It gets to the best of us even.
Griffin, a.k.a. the finisher, Chow, the Enterprise Cup's leading try scorer, a man who's already proven that he knows how to hurt 256, explosive when it comes to transitions. They'll always tell you, give Chow half a chance, he's willing to take all and more. In that instance, referee not pleased. There's a seatbelt tackle there against the STANBIC Black Pirates. Conrad Wanyama pointing out to the referee that there might have been a lead with an elbow. He's normally known as one of the masters of the dark arts, Conrad Wanyama, always instigating something psychologically against the opponents. He hasn't been given much space to do that as yet after 10 minutes of play.
Yeah, he does talk a lot and gets into the ears of the referee and also the opponents. And that, I can tell you, when the game is finally balanced and you have that ever-present sound and voice, it depends which side you're sitting on. It can affect you negatively or it can boost the morale of your troops.
Well, walking onto these grounds, it felt very chilly, it felt very cold. It's taken 10 minutes and you might be asking for AC. That's how charged the atmosphere is right now inside these grounds as KABRAS once again do have possession. Spinning a long ball out onto the flank. This is a good chance for Adaka. Gets it on once again, looking for Shindu. And fights himself in the clutches of fellow number 11, Alan Karuhanga. Still retaining possession. The back-to-back champions here, KABRAS, as they look to break lines. And it's going to take something extra for them to get past that man, Elfaze Mong, the Man Mountain. Quick pickup. A bit more structured play right now. The Pirates seem to be getting into their stride. KABRAS looking to continue the barrage. 11 minutes and the Pirates haven't gotten anywhere near the 22 of KABRAS Sugar Rugby Football Club.
Yeah, really nice defensive play by the Black Pirates. They are finding the favor of the ball. Their defense is holding on, pushing KABRAS back. And finally, they go for the jackal, a successful one. Turn of the momentum here that they really need. Number 12 going for that jackal, Isaac.
The captain, Isaac
captain.
Massa. Better known back at home as the Minister of Defense. His other moniker is one that is similar to the number 2 as the two other proprietors of the Rugby Chill. One is called Badjo. Isaac is called Abitex. Those two are the biggest events promoters in Uganda, the names that they are given. So that's why these two are nicknamed that. For the moment, he's not promoting any event, he's promoting space.
I bet the particular restaurant is quite full right now of fans who are trying to watch this particular game.
Well, you can definitely guarantee that the Kings Park Arena, the home of the STANBIC Black Pirates, also known as the Mothership, is full of a couple of people. And one thing they'll go home missing is a lot of fingernails because they'll be biting them.
Absolutely. First foray into KABRAS 22. They had a successful maul earlier on in the tournament as we've seen them through the knockout rounds. Advantage being played here by Kevin Wambugu. They have to be patient. They have to build this up. Trying a grabber kick behind the defense. Worrying times here for KABRAS. And coming in, Roy Maruti hacks that ball into dead zone area. Referee brings it back for the advantage. First time that Pirates are in KABRAS 22. Times for them to decide what will work best for them. Will they go for an attacking line-out? Will they go for a scrum? Will it be tap and go? And KABRAS being called to defensive duties for the first time, really.
Difficult times, but as well interesting times for the Pirates. Very smart play from Roy Maruti. But equally, adept rugby IQ from Timothy Kisiga, the man that actually won the 2025 MVP of the Uganda Rugby Union Awards. He's that smart, he's that decisive. Many a times, he can actually be the difference in the game.
Well, they look to Conrad, who has the ball in hand, waiting for that put-in. He's a snippy runner. If they are not careful with his darting runs around the base, they will find themselves 5 down. It's hard to believe it. After sustaining all that pressure, you have to give it up to Black Pirates, only being 5-0 down. They have really borne the brunt of these first 15 minutes, and now they have the opportunity to put.
And this is where they truly get dangerous. Quick pass, nice slick in, looking to get the ball to Isaac Massa, but the transition is swift. Pirates tend to play some very unorthodox rugby around those positions. What you expect is rarely what you get, but KABRAS clearly did their homework and managed to turn over the possession. Smart move if they're to retain their possession. And now they'll look to get territory and a big kick here to get themselves some breathing space. Quickly picked by Jeremiah Okello. Refuses to go to the ground. Nicknamed Pocket Dynamite. As he gets the ball here to Conrad Wanyama. Sydney Gongodio. Normally takes more than one player to sit him down. Gets the ball, Conrad Wanyama, straight in. Elfaze Mong, the Man Mountain. Refuses to go to the ground, eventually brought down. KABRAS are not here to play. They're chopping down every single bit. And the Pirates will have to employ double time. Nathan McDaniels Bwambali. Conrad Wanyama. Switching it out. Sydney Gongodio. It's all hands on deck for these Sea Robbers if they're to pillage anything in this moment. Wanyama to Frank the Tank Kidega. And looks like it's going to be a bit of a task to secure this one. Sending it through William Corey. That's a hard one. And the ball is quickly grabbed. Referee watches on. Fair contest in his opinion. Bertrand Wanyama continues to keep it ticking. Sustained aggression at the moment here from the Sea Robbers, and then ultimately getting undone by the oldest vice in rugby play, a knock-on.
Yeah, indeed. We wanted a final. This first 16 minutes has given us that. And when you look at KABRA's first time, and they're already huffing and puffing, they have been put to the defensive duties. Pirates really have been good, moving the ball swiftly down the line. KABRAS have had to scramble on defense. No line breaks from Pirates, but the first time they have had sustained possession. Seen like 8 faces with ball in hand. Finally, they have been able to get themselves back into this game. Lost opportunity in that earlier scrum that they had, the attacking scrum 10 meters out from KABRA's try line. That knock-on, I wish I would have seen more of what they would have done with these faces in 5 meters out. That would have really stressed KABRAS.
Well, it will be interesting to note, at least from the statistics that I'm picking from our very good friends at Metrics. If you look at the past stats in the game of the Enterprise Cup so far this season, it's been KABRAS that has had the lion's share of successive carries. That makes sense. In the opponent's perspective, they are 42% every time they carry, while the Pirates only gained 18%. That instance definitely upping that scale for the Ugandan side. There's a big kick here. And again for territory, Conrad Wanyama, one of the numerous kickers that are within the ranks here of the STANBIC Black Pirates.
Black Pirates coming into this match, they have grown into it after weathering that early 10 minutes storm from KABRAS. And KABRAS have to settle in. KABRAS have been tested earlier on this season. We've seen them in the local Kenya Cup. They have always started slowly. And that has been down to just the fact of that experience they have in their roster. But now this one, they'll have to contend with Black Pirates coming in strongly, now enjoying some territory, and KABRAS have to be very clinical with ball in hand. Any turnovers here, and they will find themselves.
Oh, that looked a bit shaky, but they quickly recover and pick it up. Walter Okoth, that ball is charged down. Opportunity, but too close, too soon for the man popularly known as Prince William Corey. Of recent, he's earned himself the navigator of the sea ship. Whenever the Pirates are looking for someone to point direction, the compass tends to land on that man and his boot.
I remember in that quarterfinals against KCB, he came to bear on KCB's ball possession. When they turned over possession, when they conceded penalties, he was there to put in those 3 pointers that put the game beyond KCB. So somebody who is yet to turn up in this match, but he's beginning to get his rhythm.
Jeremiah Okello now to Timothy Kisiga, looking to carry the ball on. Well, opts to go for the kick and chase. How good is the reception of KCB? Well, with excellent marks here from Dukusi. Goes to the ground. Instantly picked. The Pirates look to challenge, but that is well secured here by KABRAS. Fling it out to the sidelines. This is a team that tends to favor a 30-point scoreline every time they're in the finals here at the RFUEA grounds. And it's going to definitely take some stopping. Now for the moment, 5-0 it stands. And they'll look once again to relieve the pressure. As Conrad Wanyama is quick to chase, keeps it within play. Swift on his feet, shakes off one marker, shakes off a second. Conrad Wanyama is in full stride. Wazalendo is up in arms at the moment and gains the Pirates a couple of meters here, getting them to the 5-meter line. Frank the Tank Kidega tries to batter down the defense lines. Well, they'll find the walls of KABRAS are a bit harder to knock down. And William Nkore with the quick kick, looking for that 22. Is it successful? Just tapped away. And that ball goes out. Oh, tricky times. Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place here for KABRAS.
Indeed, Black Pirates emerging victorious in that kicking contest. That initial kick by Dukisa working against him because he didn't go into touch, then afforded Conrad Wanyama very deadly and very slippery ball carrier. Brought them right back, and from there, Cabras had to employ some dark arts, tried to slow the ball down in those racks, tried to ensure that they did that, but that gave opportunity to William Kore to go for those spaces. And as you see there, Dukisa again with another ball handling error, something we do not see a lot in him. He's a steady pair of hands, but the pressure in these early times as Pirates get themselves back into the game starting to show on Cabras' defense.
Well, when you go back to the quarterfinals, that was at Wankuluku, where we got to see both these teams playing, of course, against different opponents. It was pretty clear that the kicking margin seemed to lie more with the STANBIC Black Pirates. On that day, Cabras made 11 kicks from hand, and they only retained possession from one of those kicks, while the Pirates were in free fall, 32 kicks in general play, having the likes of Conrad Wanyama with 8 box kicks, Kisiga and Kore also making 3 and 2 up and under kicks, 2 of those being retained. Basically, a lot in the kicking game, one of the tools in the arsenal for the Pirates. And Conrad Wanyama gets it on to Isaac Massa. That's a big hit. He will always look for Braun ahead of step away. Quickly restarted by Davis Shimwa. The referee will call that back. Davis Shimwa, one of the new recruits here of the STANBIC Black Pirates, was signed over this season from Rhinos, got his debut on the national team, and is now playing international regional club rugby. You could say he's definitely a man who feels he made the right choice to board the ship.
Absolutely, he is one that STANBIC Pirates have looked up to. Seen him in previous knockout games. He tends to have those crash balls and is very successful in getting into the backyard. He has angle runs, he's strong on his feet, goes down on his own terms. So we are yet to see him get into the attacking phase in this particular match. But this is what Black Pirates will wish for. Strong carry from the base of that.
Alex Aturinda breaks down grounds, and it's a try here. And who else but arguably the man that has played the largest number of games across Ugandan rugby. He is the only player that turns out for the Uganda Rugby Cranes in both the 7s and the 15s. Alex Aturinda dots down to restore parity for the STANBIC Black Pirates.
Yeah, Alex Aturinda, very dangerous of those number 8 strong ball carrier. It's not something we are not used to seeing. We've seen it in this particular tournament. Remember in that semi-finals against Nondescripts, when Nondis went ahead, he's the one who dragged them back with such carries. And here, Cabras none the wiser, letting him have a field day round the right side of that rack. See how he goes from that scrum pickup. No one was stopping him 5 meters out.
Very difficult player to deal with. And now we talked about the boot and the kicking game, and Prince William Kore, the navigator, finally puts the STANBIC Black Pirates in familiar territory at the lead of the game, and it's instant delirium from the fans, including that man putting on a Spanish jersey. That is Arnold Atukunda. He normally is a player. Tonight, the mechanic from Chireka is in the stands cheering across the border.
Absolutely. If you are in Kenya watching this, you would think that we are in Uganda, because the traveling fans and the Ugandans living in Kenya have turned out in numbers. Pirates are playing as if they are at home, and indeed on the scorecard you can say so.
Well, there was a question on the hunter and the hunted. Cabras struck down first and laid the gunlet. The Pirates responding in affirmative and now are in the lead. Question is, who wants that bull's eye firmly painted on their backs? Cabras had it, held it for well over 20 minutes. The Pirates now take it. Will they sustain the barrage that's about to go at them?
Yeah, Black Pirates with enough, execution, clinical execution whenever they have the ball in hand. also what they are doing really well is they're putting in very good kicks. As you see that Conrad putting the box kick, it is knocked down, and then now it's all pressure for Kabras. They have to contain themselves here because they are under intense pressure. And as we say so, Kevin Wambugu, the center referee, awards Black Pirates with a scrum of that knock-on from Cantona. Serious, intense pressure. Up your face defense. Good chest kicks from STANBIC Pirates. They are playing the better kicking game as we speak.
You know how normally they say a tale of two halves? This one is a half of two tales. At one moment, one team needs to settle and the other is dominating. A few minutes later, one team has now settled and the other needs to find their hairpins and Google Maps. Cabras needs to really set in because the Pirates are all on them like a pack of hyenas.
Yeah, the momentum has changed drastically from the first 10-15 minutes of this match. Pirates right back into the hunt, courtesy of really fantastic territorial game. Those kicks from number 10, William Kore, and the box kicks from Conrad Wanyama have really been spot on. And Cabras have not been able to deal with that. The back three of Griffin Chao and Cantona have not been able to get those balls because, number one, they have been spot on. The defense, the chasers have arrived right on time to apply pressure. And in the last 10 minutes, Cabras have camped in their half. We wouldn't have said that as the game began.
Well, chance here from the STANBIC Black Pirates faithfuls who are asking for another one. For the moment, the home crowd is slightly silenced. You'd be forced into thinking we might be in Boyogerere rather than Nairobi.
Absolutely.
Opportunity here. Alex Aturinda once again to go with it. Isaac Massa, shimmies one, shimmies two. The Minister of Defense is looking for territory, and he does get it into the 10. Quick break. El Fazemong, the Man Mountain, looks to make another break. Conrad Wanyama, frantic pace here now coming in from the Pirates. The Cabras are now being asked questions on how elite their defense is. Conrad Wanyama, Wandera splices the ball up onto the flank. It's good play from both teams now. Probing, pressing, asking the questions. Are the Pirates holding firm, staying resolute, staying focused and locked in on the task at hand? KABRAS Sugar Rugby Club. Good pickup from Shimwa. Spreads it out to the flank. It could be open space for Alan Karuhanga, but that ball bubbles and that is a knock-on. The turnover complete. Referee plays the advantage. KABRAS will now look to build from deep, and that could just land them in a spot of bother. The referee coming in now to intervene. The advantage was played and none was gained.
Yeah, in the starting 15 for Cabras, we have 12 Kenyan nationals. If they are going to need experience, the 12 have to put their hands up. But what we are seeing here from Black Pirates is really fantastic. For those who have been watching Kenya Cup, for those who followed Cabras throughout the season, not seen them under intense pressure like this, bar the Kenya Cup finals that they played recently. So they have followed this up with 2 big games. And the Pirates did not travel for nothing. They have come to take that trophy and take it from a foreign country.
A couple of the fans of the Black Pirates back at home not happy with the fact that we pointed out that Cabras normally do win with their margin of 30 points on the board. And now they should be glad that they are in the lead, except that they'll have to worry right now as there's a clean line break. Quick pass, that ball is lost. Anybody's for the taking. Mr. Safe Hands, Timothy Kisiga recovers just at the halfway line. And Alex Aturinda will want to return to sender. Quickly picked on. Conrad Wanyama splices it. Shimwa, Kidega, on to Nathan Bwambali, the hooker. And now taking the ball, he's one whose agility belies his role in the game. It's Conrad Wanyama, sends it through. Nice pass. The Pirates now gaining inch by inch, both in confidence and in territory, and spread out. Jeremiah Okello, they'll need to watch out for him. He's a pocket dynamite. Referee might call that back there. Looks like there was a lead with an elbow, but play continues. And Cabras back on possession. Skips away from one challenge, skips away from a second, won't get past the tentacles of Conrad Wanyama, and in the background there, you could see Jeremiah Okello seems to be out of it. I'm not so certain what that was, but it could be an instance where it looked like they was leading with the elbow. Referee Kevin not calling it.
Yeah, we'll need a replay of that so that we can be clear what happened, but I think he was going for a chip kick, probably a late tackle, and Kevin Wambugu has to consult, and I see them consulting with the assistant referee Victor Duor to determine what actually happened there. But as they do so, as you see there, just the captain going in to have something that he can listen into. But yeah, as we said so, Black Pirates have played a better kicking game. Cabras yet to get into Black Pirates half in these last 10 minutes or so. Cabras will have to look to their kicking game. It has to be spot on. We've seen them getting those kicks from Dukisa being charged down, being pinned in their own half, trying also getting roped into offloading and playing in their own 22. They have gotten into that trap that has been properly laid by Black Pirates. Black Pirates have had a lot of ball in hand, and they have used it quite well. There's a tendency for the defenders to actually try and also get themselves into that running ball, and that is why Cabras are still pinned in their own 22.
Well, I'm getting some information right now from our very good friends across the border, Issa Metrics, who keep up with all the stats, and they say Aturinda has now the most try involvements for any Ugandan in the 2026 Enterprise Cup. He has 2 tries and 2 assists for a total of 4 try involvements this season.
Yeah, he's really multi-talented, isn't he?
Absolutely.
Carries well, steps, is able to offload under high pressure balls. So that is really fantastic turn of pace also. So a lot of things going for him, and Black Pirates benefiting from that. As we see that kick from Dukisa putting them into the 22 for the first time, rambling, going for that maul that they have been so good at this season. That maul goes down, but Cabras with that potent maul they have employed the whole season. 5 meters out, patience there from the captain. Goes to deck, looking to peel out wide. Traffic being marshaled here by Roy Maruti off the base of that track, going for the maul again, trying to set it up, but curtailed by a chop tackle. Then Dukisa goes for that kick, trying to find out Derek Ashiundu, but he's unsuccessful. Referee was playing advantage. They go back in.
Well, that was a brilliant opportunity there for the green and gold to get themselves on the front foot, and they really had put themselves out there for the taking, beaten that defense. Sometimes Lady Luck needs to just smile a bit upon you, especially in a final.
Yeah, another thing that Dukisa is good at, but it's not coming out well for Derek Shashundu here. That ball going short, misjudging the flight and missing it all out. However, it was a free hit, so you can't blame the number 10, Tambeni Dukisa, for going for that attempted cross kick.
Puts the ball into touch. We shall have a line out. And according to our clock, with about 8 minutes left to play in this half. Oh, feels like we've already run through 180 given the run of play. It's been intense. It's been nerve-wracking. I really feel for those who are heavily invested in one end or the other of this game.
Yeah, dangerous maul here, but STANBIC Pirates able to stop it momentarily, but it goes rumbling, and that's a try for Cabras Sugar, hitting the front with their most potent weapon that they have employed successfully here. At the back end of it was number 5, George Nyambua, right at the end, at the tail end of that ball. As you see, rising high there to get the ball, Hilary Odhiambo, and then the ensuing setup. Then from there is just a big shove, running out of numbers to defend that maul. STANBIC Pirates going behind the whitewash to reflect on what has been a very entertaining first half.
Well, when they needed someone to step up, it had to be the captain of the Kenya Simbas, none other George Nyambua, the man who was at Bungoma High School, a man who has been in the Kenya Cup there with 4 tries. The Enterprise Cup, this becomes his 2nd try, but more importantly, one that restores the lead to Cabras. Big kick. Another attempt at getting the extra honors. Another attempt that's fallen short. I have a feeling, Elijah, at the end of this game, we might come back to discussing who had the better kick for conversion as the determinant for who gets this trophy.
I'm telling you right off the bat here that Dukisa Tabeni has been the best kicker in the Kenyan setup for the last 5 years, 6-7 years actually. And he has been kicking the percentages of 85 and above. But today, his boots were left somewhere.
Someone needs to quickly jump onto a matatu and bring those right here, because they'll absolutely need them for the second half. But in the moment, they lead by the 3 points. They'll need to watch out for the Pirates, never afraid to go for that drop goal, especially if you give them just enough of possession, as Sydney Gongodio forces the turnover here. And Conrad Wanyama is looking to arrive quickly. I think he wanted to play for the 5, but the captain, Isaac Masanganzira Massa, calls for the kicking tee. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it will fall to the navigator to have to figure out a way to bring the STANBIC Black Pirates into this game. Over 100 appearances for the Pirates. He's the team's leading enterprise point scorer and always controls territory and tempo. Whenever the Pirates have needed the direction, the boot of Nkore many a times has answered immaculately.
Yeah, good common sense there to just ensure that you keep the scoreboard ticking. Going for that 3 points immediately. If this goes in.
Nkore, William nails it!
Oh, surprisingly,
well, it's actually wide.
Is that a shocker?
Well, he's human after all. At one point, everybody might think everything is just literally telegraphed. The Pirates with an opportunity. They try to take their shot at it. It doesn't land for them. They still have a decent area from which to pick up play. Score remains a 3-point margin here in favor of Cabras.
Yeah, I mean, he had nailed the earlier harder one for a right-footed kicker right towards the farthest ends of the pitch. This one should have been an easy one that would have put them right in this match.
Timothy Kisiga with the kick and chase. This time someone reading his game a little faster and able to impede his way to that ball. Conrad Wanyama with a spillover. And it looks like there were a couple of knock-ons there. The referee will go with the first perpetuator, and the dividends present a windfall here for the STANBIC Black Pirates.
Conrad Wanyama. Yeah.
I warned you, a real master of the dark arts.
I mean, he knows how to chat himself into the opponent's ears and get into their mindset. Smallest guy, but deadly mental impact against Cabras. I mean, when you look at the history of Cabras Sugar, they have had 13 Ugandan players over their last 13 years of existence. I mean, Uganda have had critical input into Cabras' success over that period. So, something that, you know, Cabras really have to look into, and a lot of familiarity between these players also, coming right from the bench. Later on, we'll have to see Asuman Mugerwa.
He's one of those players that is very familiar with the game. And the players that you're talking about are not just any players, but real household names. You talk about Asuman Mugerwa. We've seen the likes of Sol Chivumbi. Yeah. And then the one that many probably herald at the moment as one of the greatest rugby players to ever don a Ugandan jersey or grace the Ugandan pitch, Philip Wokorach, also played for Cabras.
Yeah. I mean, they have had their footprint in Cabras over the last 13 years. So, really nice input from them. Of course, you will say that geographically makes sense for Cabras to go right across the border and get the best players from Uganda. Is it coming to bite them?
Well, big questions, as at the moment we are probably down to 2 minutes by our clock, and then the referee's discretion. It is still the 3 points that separate Conrad Wanyama getting a shove there. Seems to be a thing he tends to employ way too often. The ball is quickly picked up. Good attack now, again mounting for Cabras. They have the overload out on the flank if that ball can find its way there. Conrad Wanyama picks it up. Referee pulls the play back. The advantage not sustained. And Conrad once again looking to get into the head of his opponents.
I mean, you have to use the full arsenal that you have at your disposal. And STANBIC Pirates definitely have rattled KABRAS, you know, who have been the apex of Kenyan rugby over the last 10 years or so since their formation. They have been to every Kenya Cup finals bar one. So when you look at how they do hold the ability to just get themselves out of tight situations, they'll have to dig really deep in the second half if they are to walk away with this particular trophy.
Well, second half we'll have to wait because they have more impending troubles right now. As that was a brilliantly executed exit kick straight into the 22. Now we'll get to find out just how formidable the line-out will get to be.
Yeah, STANBIC Pirates have to stop this maul from going through. The last try they considered, nice sack there from STANBIC Pirates, but the maul still goes. This has been KABRAS' go-to, and they go to it again for another 5 points. STANBIC have to get an answer to these particular rolling mauls.
Well, they've been left toothless and powerless here. And now questions within the camp of the STANBIC Black Pirates. That rolling maul has become a real trouble to them. If they don't answer sooner than later, it might be the proper Achilles heel.
Yeah, trying to contest there. You can see some STANBIC Pirates asking whether that was a track and trail moment. But the initial Hilary Odhiambo, number 4, was sacked down, but the ball was at the end. He was dislodged from that particular maul. However, Black Pirates players were still on to that reset, and that's why the ref allows that to go all the way. And if there's anything that KABRAS have punished other Kenya Cup teams during this campaign, has been that rolling maul.
Going for the kick. Will the third time be lucky? Well, doesn't seem so. And the referee wastes no time in sending the two teams down to the dugouts, sending the fans for quick refreshments, and sending this panel of pundits into analysis mode, because it's been a game that has been really contested on fine margins. 15-7 it stands, but that barely scratches the surface of what we have witnessed in the first half of the Enterprise Cup final. Another 40 minutes to savor, opportunities for both sides to take it on. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Enterprise Cup 2026 finals. KABRAS Sugar Rugby Football Club 15, STANBIC Black Pirates 7.
Ian, 1 2. Ian unanipata? 1 2. Sawa.
Ikoaje? Game ni ngumu. Kwa hiyo atofa iko sawa. Iko sawa. Good. Ngoja nilikuwa nasema ukienda kwa map enda backward. Kuna vitu na happen behind you. Sawa. Unapatia action mgongo niende nikiangalia tu once nakumbuka hivi nasema narudi hivi wewe kama fan PITATES. Ni mwenye amekaa hivi. Na watu walikuwa wanaenda hivi so ni PITATES. Kwanza nikishaona game zenye Ambialing talking to the captain, hapo ndio najuanga hiyo game. Ndio unajua labda ni sasa nimalize. Twende. Second half. Sawa, tumeanza second half wako ni nini? Ni scrum tu. Not that it's bad, but can make it better. Can always make it better. Do this.
All right, second half gets underway right here in the Enterprise Cup 2026 finals, and it is still KABRAS Rugby Football Club, KABRAS Sugar, let me put that clear, KABRAS Sugar Rugby Football Club that are still in the lead here against the STANBIC Black Pirates, 15-7. No changes as per halftime from both coaches. It still looks like game plan A is in play. My name is Jermaine Agessa. With me is Elijah. And it is quite the game that we are having here on our hands if the first 40 minutes are anything to go by.
Indeed, it was a fantastic first half. We saw a battle of the fly halves. Tabeni Tugisa taking on William Corey on those territorial kicks. STANBIC Pirates coming out better in that particular fight, but bringing themselves back into the match. KABRAS went for what they have done and has worked well for them, the rolling mauls, and they pulled themselves ahead of this match going into the halftime. This is the last 40 minutes to see who will walk away with this particular crown. KABRAS going for a potential 5-peat and join only 2 other teams that have done that for the Enterprise Cup. The last one being
well, there's a clean break here, and this could be the opportunity to extend the lead even further. There'll be no catching up, and it is another try here for KABRAS, who just continue to do all sorts of things that are right for them. Patrick Sabatia makes absolutely no mistake. Well, he's been on a song, and there was no catching him there.
Yeah, that cross kick. This time round, Dabeni Dukisa being accurate with that kick goes straight into the bread basket for Patrick, and he turns the afterburners for a loose forward. He had 25 meters to work with, and he got himself barely over the whitewash. KABRAS starting quickly and now putting some daylight between themselves and Black Pirates in the beginning of this second half. KABRAS have a knack of starting very fast, catching you lacking there and just not keen once the whistle is blown for the start of the match. Cantona going for the extra 2 points, misses it.
Well, they've been unable to convert from any of the 4 tries, but I'll tell you one thing, this is where the experience of KABRAS begins to show. They have been training themselves in patience. They have been in 4, 5 finals at this stage. They know what to harness, they know when to pick, they know when to probe, they know when to press.
And the only thing ailing Pirates is conversion, the clinical execution once they get into KABRAS 22. Otherwise, you look at the other stats, the contests have been very fair, very balanced in the scrum, in the lineouts, a few that have been lost by both teams. So when you look at the grand scheme of things, they are fairly balanced on other stats, but it's just the accuracy of KABRAS once they get into the red zone that makes the difference between the two teams currently. Ball is raised high, and that is a mid-air collision. Probably Kevin Wambugu and Victor Dor might have a look at that. No mercy Dudi, assistant referee on the other side.
Oh, the referee will call that back. Yeah, Conrad Wanyama for a moment thought he had actually managed to gain some advantage. The Pirates need to quickly get back onto the same wavelength. For the moment, there's a player who's on the ground who might require some medical attention.
Yeah, it was a mid-air collision. And I think both sets of players for both teams, even as we listen in.
If I'm not mistaken, that should be Davis Shimwa, the man that is still laying prone on the ground. But just gives a minute here to Timothy Kisiga to quickly catch a drink of water, as Roy Chizito Bartholomew is the man with the walkie-talkie there, will relay a couple of instructions from the technical team on how to forge forward. Interesting, it's actually Elfaz Among, the Man Mountain, who flew in from South Africa straight to Kenya to link up with the rest of his teammates, where he has actually been and gotten bigger, gotten bulkier, a lot more scary. For the moment, KABRAS are not afraid of boogeymen.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one who's also shared some notes from KABRAS' point of view, because he's played for KABRAS twice, having appeared earlier on when KABRAS' inception, then also early last year before he moved out. So just a big loss if he's not able to get up on his feet and continue with the battle here. But nonetheless, I know the bench, the finishers will be coming in later on, and both sets of players looking to utilize their finishers when the time is right.
We'll definitely see how things get to sweep out in there for them and for the multitudes that are actually in this particular one. It's been nothing short of an enthralling game, to be honest, just looking at some of those final moments. And, well, that probably will be one that they'll look back to as one that gave KABRAS a bit of breathing space and an opportunity to play the game more on their terms. As we do see John Paula team already beginning to warm up. That might be a substitution. That would be a huge blow of humongous proportions to the Sea Robbers.
Yeah, I think that emanated from that contest mid-air, but he looks like he's trying to gauge himself, see if he can continue. Yeah, probably might have a run or two, as you see him just trying to pump his feet, see if he has the air to continue. And he gets back into the fray. Scrum. This is Conrad Wanyama with ball in hand, dead center of the pitch. Black Pirates have a lot to do chasing down this 13-point deficit, but they have the arsenal, they have the know-how to get themselves back into this game if they can only convert that territory into points.
Conrad Wanyama gets to swing, and the Pirates lose possession. Alan Karuhanga tries to retain possession, and it's anybody's ball for the taking. And the referee will bring it back. Curious what his call is. Judges that as a knock-on in favor of KABRAS. Much to the agitation of the STANBIC Black Pirates fans, and Isaac Massa is in absolute disbelief. Judge's call is absolute, as we often know that in rugby, the center referee is the absolute judge of truth and fact, and in that instance, calls it here for KABRAS Rugby Football Club.
Yeah, something that Black Pirates didn't need at this particular moment. They required that possession. Turning it over to KABRAS in their own half is what the coach didn't want. 6 substitutions right there in the front row for Black Pirates. Coming in, number 17. Ariho Muhumuza
coming in, but it looks like the referee has made his decision on Elfaze Mong. He wanted to go out on his shield. The referee says for the safety of the player, the Man Mountain will have to come off. In his place will come John Paul Atim.
Yeah, so changes. That is a forced change, but the battle has to continue. Ball in hand here, Roy Maruti. As we see off the screen there, KABRAS backline shaping themselves up for a push. Walter Okoth, the center pairing of Walter Okoth and Bryson Adaka, very experienced, real hard runners, angle runners. Roy Maruti taking ball out wide, long pass, releasing and knocking it on. Wow, Cantona just guilty of not completing that move.
Oh, you could say very unlucky there that Eric Cantona dropped that ball. They were clearly in the groove. And the Pirates, we did see from that particular scrum that they have been already neutralized by the absence of just that one player, Elfaze Mong, who under normal circumstances tends to play an entire 80 minutes. Having him off after one half definitely switches the agenda and the game plan here for Marvin Odong and the rest of his technical team.
Yeah, it was a huge mid-air collision. I think Conrad just went straight into him. There was a potential shove from KABRAS players as they went for that ball, and Eliphaz coming out the worst from that contest. Back to where we began, Conrad Wanyama with ball in hand at this set piece.
Well, this time the scrum holds solid here for the Pirates. KABRAS not moving an inch, and eventually we're beginning to gain the momentum. And William Nkore puts the boot to work. It's anybody's ball for the taking. And there will be questions there as that ball is impeded. Referee will have to bring that back. Well, there might be questions there on that tackle on Jeremiah Okello. Looked like it was a seatbelt tackle in there. Referee might not have caught in that, and the referee will now take time to consult with the touch judge.
So knock on fast before. Okay. So it's knock on fast. No, it's knock on fast. So we play this fast.
Yeah, indeed, you're right. There was an infringement. There was an seatbelt tackle. However, that happened after the knock-on. So the referee has to call the first infringement, which is the knock-on. Yeah. And that is why you saw a lot of contest from Black Pirates players.
Yeah.
Center referee Kevin Wambugu consulting with assistant referee Victor Oduor to come up with that decision. Critical moments here because STANBIC Pirates want to get out of their 22. Out of their own half, if they can only apply pressure on KABRAS defense. KABRAS have been untested in this second half earlier on, getting the favor of territory.
It was never going to be an easy contest to officiate, and Kevin Wambui is now being really put to the metals. We thought it would be just the fans and the players that would get tested, and the coaches. Well, lo and behold, the men at the center also getting their work cut out for them. That's what the Enterprise Cup final does, as Conrad Wanyama snatches that ball and instantly goes to the ground. The Pirates still have possession here. Can the Sea Robbers forge something worthwhile here for themselves? Looking to push their way forward. Good play there from Ivan Kabagambe. Sydney Gongodio is brought to the ground. Ball turned over. And possession lost here by the STANBIC Black Pirates. KABRAS looking to punish every single instance. Looked like in the moment that ball was ripped clean out of the hands. Instructions reigning supreme here from the center referee as there's a chance here for a clean break from KABRAS. Dukisa was the man that made the earlier run. And now his team will have to pick the scraps, and the referee will blow the whistle ultimately. But hoped for an advantage there. There was none to be gained. The Sea Robbers gain reprieve. Kabras swell in anticipation of another strike.
Yeah, Tambeni Dukisa getting into that gap, courtesy of rush defense from William, Isaac, and Davis Shimwa. That back line for Black Pirates, very wary of the center pairing from Kabras, shooting up, opening a dog leg gap for Tambeni Dukisa. And that is what you get when you have front football coming from the pack of forwards that Kabras have. Very experienced pack of forwards, literally from number 1 to 8, all turning up for the Kenya team and bringing the experience to the advantage here. Been a start-stop game, been a start-stop second half. I mean, first half was played at high tempo by both teams, but this second half has both teams really weighing themselves up, sizing themselves up afresh. Kabras with that quick early try at the beginning of this second half.
Looking to put that into territory, but there's still possession here for Jeremiah Okello, pocket dynamite, who gets grounded instantly. And that's a nice pickup from Shimwa. Gets it on to Sydney Gongodio, runs straight into enemy territory. William Nkore attempting the long spiral pass out here, finding McDaniel. Nathan Bwambale skips it to the flank, looking to secure a referee.
Yeah, he came in from offside.
Yeah. It's now going to come down a bit to the fine margins of the game, knowing the elements and knowing how to utilize them for yourself and against your opponents. And in this moment, it looks like the Pirates, who come into this game still notoriously clean as compared to the instances where Kabras in their games have had a couple of skirmishes. Discipline was one of those talking points in the build-up to this game, and the Pirates at the moment are utilizing it. In the meantime, the Pirates fans are applauding on the sidelines because one of their mavericks is about to be brought into the game. Haruna Mohammed, they call him the dummy seller. He's one who can, on a good day, send you to heaven. On a bad day, will bring you crashing to the ground. Question is, what day is it today for him?
Yeah, he has to sell expensive ones if he has to pull Black Pirates back into this contest. Finally getting into Kabras' half in this second half of the match. They have to be patient here. They have to go through the rhythm, the motions. They have to retain possession for sustained periods of time here if they are to apply any pressure on Kabras, because Kabras have just been really enjoying themselves in the better part of the second half.
Timothy Kisiga there dazzling his way in the midfield, and Isaac Massa attempts to dazzle his way. The ball almost ripped from his possession, but still holds on firm. Conrad Wanyama sets it in motion. Ariho Muhumuza plays the ball back here. Conrad Wanyama. Shimwa Davis skips away from one, battling with two, holding off, fending off, will not relinquish possession, and goes to the ground, and there's a slight tongue out at his opponents to let them know that they are still in this fight.
Yeah,
I'll talk about the mentality monsters that the Pirates have become.
Yeah, that's Bryson Andaka getting up against Davis Shumwa. One of those highlight reels that you'll watch later on. Slowly but surely, Black Pirates start getting past.
That's going to be a forward pass, and Alan Karuhanga cannot sustain it. The agony is pretty clear from the rest of the teammates. It was a good break, but one that comes to count for nothing. And as we hear the referee there pointing out, there's a substitution here, and that means the dummy seller Haruna Mohammed is introduced into the game. Question is, for whom does he replace?
Let's go, boys. In the map.
Yeah, that must be Conrad. That must be number 10, William
That would
Nkore.
be interesting. William Nkore rarely plays less than 65, 70 minutes. He normally is only taken off when they do have the game in the lead. He's one of the leaders in that locker room, or as a good pep talker, and one who believes firmly in the game. You can definitely see from his walkout that he is not amused, but it's a team game. The coaches and technical team believe it's time to switch it up.
I believe it's down to the fact that his impact and influence in the game has waned, and the coach needs something else different coming through from that number 10 channel. He needs to, speaking of Haruna, he needs now to ensure that he's very accurate with ball in hand.
Well, what tends to happen actually is that Haruna will now go to number 15, and Timothy Kisiga, who was playing 15, will go to number 10. And there you are, Haruna Mohammed is always quick onto the mark. He's one of those fast thinkers. And there he goes, sails a few, gets to the ground, back onto his feet here. He's a maverick. He definitely will play the unorthodox game. Sydney Gongodio goes to the ground. And looking now for Conrad Wanyama. Spreading it accurately. Two players in the same vicinity. Moses Ziwa. Been a bit quiet in the earlier parts of the game as the ball is picked and hoofed clear. Alan Karuhanga will have to get that ball quicker. And now trying to accelerate. He has pressure underneath pinging him as the Pirates look to secure. Quick pick up here from Haruna Mohammed. Goes a couple of meters. Presents the ball to play. Conrad Wanyama takes a few seconds to scan the surroundings. As Ariho shoves off one, shoves off two. The big man taking a few strides. And he carries the ball well past the halfway line. Presented the ball to play, but that was instantly snatched here by KABRAS Sugar, who looked to dazzle and weave their way forward. Well, talk about it going one way then the other. The momentum here swings faster than a pendulum on steroids.
Yeah, fantastic play there from the center, who anticipated the ball. Walter Okoth went for that offload from the
this could spell trouble. He's in full flight, he's in full speed. Timothy Kisiga to impede. This could be the final nail in the coffin. Does he ground it? The third judge says, try time. And once again, the runaway train of Derek Ashihundu delivers the goods for KABRAS.
Walter Okoth, hard work done by Walter Okoth to release that pressure pass, goes into hand, then the over-chasing defenders, leaving the inside spaces wide open for Derek Ashindu as he goes on an obtuse angle run, and he goes for the corner flag. He turned out the pace. Nothing that could be done by Timothy Kisiga to stop Derek Ashindu. Rolling back the ears, pinning his ears, and going for that 5-pointer. Walter Okoth has really been influential in that back line. We've seen him time and again. That crucial turnover that he did at that tackle afforded KABRAS possession. They swung it out to their left, and then when they brought it back in, STANBIC Black Pirates had were short in numbers on that right hand channel of the pitch, and that's where all the trouble came from. Attempted 2 points, but sails out to left of the post.
Coming into this game, Derek Ashindu had just the 3 tries. He's taken that tally a lot higher, but arguably the KABRAS fans will erase all the other tries and point to the 2 that have been extremely crucial in giving them breathing space in this game. But what a play from the man that in primary school served as a ball boy for Kenyan Football Premier Leagues. When he went to high school, learned rugby. That's at the Mama Ngina Kenyatta High School in Nakuru, and later on at the Mangereza Academy in Naivasha. Ladies and gentlemen, Walter Okoth.
You're okay, but he's on the way. You're on the way. You're fine.
Center referee Kevin Wambugu penalizing Black Pirates for not being 10 around that set break area. Dukisa, who has not been so good with his kicks, finally puts KABRAS right back into Pirates half. Pirates have let this game slip away from themselves. When you look at the opportunities they did have in the first half, they should have stayed in touch with KABRAS. What KABRAS are doing now is just playing percentage rugby, ensuring that no rugby is played in their half. Anytime they have that ball, they put it right back into Pirates territory and then apply the squeeze in defense from there. Another set piece line out that goes to hand. They have to offload this one quickly. Strong carry there coming in. Big collision. Just being able to reset the Ephraim Oduor. Loose ball. Referee says it went behind. Derek Ashund with another darting run down that 5-meter channel. Turnover. Yes, turnover successful from STANBIC Black Pirates.
Well, still looking to win those battles, still looking to push on strong. Rugby scores can be pretty deceptive. At less than an hour, 25-7 looks like a conclusion. Lo and behold, let one try and a conversion go in and it's a whole nother ball game altogether. That's one thing. You have to find the space to get the try.
Yeah, they have to. Conrad Wanyama is required here. Those box kicks that we saw in the first half and the fantastic chase, they have to go back to that, as this kick shows good chase. This is what they needed to
that
do.
ball bounces. Timothy Kisiga to chase, quickly looking to intercept here. Matthias Osimbo finds himself in a spot of bother and looking to contest that ball. The Pirates Shimwa wants to up and under, upturn, and looks like Sidney Gondodo, anybody's ball for the taking. Cabras find themselves under quite a bit of pressure, and the referee will bring the ball back in favor of the STANBIC Black Pirates, who all of a sudden look to have engaged gears now.
They had to go back to that textbook play that they employed in the first half. They needed to play in Cabras 22 in their half, because that's where players now start feeling the pressure when you have possession. That box kick was followed by a very good chase, and that's what's happened, because immediately the ball was too hot for the Cabras backline, who are retreating, causing that forward play. And now an opportunity for Black Pirates to attack. First time in this second half, really. 20 minutes into the second half is when we see Pirates having a proper ball that they can work with.
Well, here is the question where it becomes more of a chess game than a rugby game, as we do get to see the fact that we might see the introduction of Michael Lukusi coming in very shortly here for Cabras. Just one of the moments earlier that led to that bit of play, and it's a whole throng of changes as Cabras makes big changes to the lineup. Emmanuel Otieno, one of those. Teddy Akala, the other. Asuman Mugerwa comes on. And the man we talked about earlier, Michael Lukusi, comes on. Question, do the Pirates look for 5? Do they go for the poles to keep the scoreboard ticking?
They should go for the 5. I mean, if they are able to get 5, then that narrows the gap that they have to work on to get themselves back into this game. Still 20 minutes to work on, 20 minutes to work with, and they have the right territory here. So a good decision in my books for them to go for this one.
So scrum it will be as Cabras Sugar RFC unleash their finishers now into a fresh scrum, and they kick it off with big impending powers. Alex Aturinda looks to surge forward, brought to the ground. Conrad Wanyama to Haruna Mohammed, sells one, sells second. No one is buying at the moment, and just can't find that wiggle room that he normally finds so easily.
Yeah, there's an advantage play there from center referee Kevin Wambugu for a high shot, and he pulls it back, seeing that nothing has accrued from the first play for Black Pirates. Enjoying good territory, enjoying possession. They have to make these count. They have to put something on the scoreboard. I mean, it's a split decision here whether to go for the 3 or 5, but 5 will be better than 3.
And when you see that man there leading the charge, that's Frank the Tank Kidega. They'll definitely look to drive it straight into the throng of the battle, and they got themselves in a good position. Bullet pass there from Conrad Wanyama, instantly intercepted, releasing the ball. This is good play from the STANBIC Black Pirates. Ariho Muhumuza, Conrad Wanyama, Sidney Gongodio in possession. Goes down. It's intense stuff here. Concentration will have to be at an all-time high, as running straight in is John Paul Atim. Haruna Mohammed sells the dummy and gains a few meters extra. They pass the ball. McDaniels Wambale, Sidney Gongodio. They're going to go about this one. They'll have to go the hard way. Haruna Mohammed sells the dummy once again, but they're still keeping a close eye on him. Wanyama. Bullet pass, Kidega, Timothy Kisiga tries to slip through, and support quickly presented. The Pirates look to edge forward as that ball is presented back into play here by Frank the Tank Kidega. Pull it pass back to the center, quickly shifting the ball. And that will count as a knock-on. The referee brings it back for an earlier infringement. The penalty was still on as we had him point out.
Yeah, good, nice spell of possession there from STANBIC Pirates. And they are doing the right thing. They are applying pressure. They are keeping ball in hand. They are going for those faces. They are trying to suck in KABRAS defense. KABRAS defense holding strong for now, but you cannot defend forever. And just the last 5 minutes, they have tried to work it out. Probably at some point, I am thinking they have to go for the 3 if they're not able to get themselves over the whitewash, because they will not. These chances come very few and rare, and they need to put some points on the scoreboard.
Conrad Wanyama to Timothy Kisiga, sends it all the way to Haruna, quickly passes it to Alex Aturinda, and that ball is lost.
Yeah, that opportunity goes begging. No advantage, nothing that they can work with now. It's turnover possession to KABRAS, a defensive line out, but they have weathered that storm. First time they have been put to attacking duties in the second half in their own 22, and they have emerged victorious, defending their ranks properly here.
And there will be a couple of eyes that are keeping watch on that clock. For KABRAS, moving a little slower than would be necessary. For the Black Pirates, streaming away like one on the standard gauge railway. As there's a clean break here, looking to break the lines and going forward now in full flight, Jojo Diambo. That was
Good contest.
George Nyambua. Good contest.
Fast man.
And the Pirates somehow just managed to weather it. Haruna wanted a quick restart, but his opponents knew exactly the antics that were at his disposal and quickly looked to intercept. Now Timothy Kisiga will kick for territory, and we are right back to where we were a couple of minutes ago.
Nice recovery there from STANBIC Black Pirates. That defense, that splitting run from KABRAS, almost giving them nightmares, because the supporting player, had it been a winger of some sorts, then we'll have been discussing different issues. But take 2 from STANBIC Pirates. They are doing the right things, but they need rewards for this possession. They need rewards for this territory. They have to go about it just quietly, executing it well, and ensuring that KABRAS have to consider a penalty.
The Pirates managed to retain possession from that line out, forcing the issue. Look to build once again just outside the 22 in that channel of 15. That's breaking away towards the center, the action spilling all the way towards the center of the park. Still held here by Isaac Masanganzira. Straight out onto the flank. Sydney Gongodio breaks away, presents the ball to play. A couple of precious meters picked, and there's the kick and chase here, anticipated and quite eagerly put away by Eric Cantona, but Timothy Kisiga was hot on his heels.
Yeah, that was a wrong choice of pass from Conrad Wanyama. He should have peeled back and gone to the open side, because when he came in, Timothy Kisiga found himself against 3 KABRAS defenders. So a wrong choice there. But again, that's part of what you do in the training sessions. You tend to clear one side. However, the scrum half is the one who marshals the attack off those racks. He should be able to spot where the gaps are, where the numbers are. In this case, just turning over possession. But lucky enough, they still have it courtesy of this line out. 10 meters out. Referee penalizes. Quick tap and go. 1 meter out. Spills it, but there will be a yellow card coming here for sure. A yellow card,
and that could be the moment that changes the game. We talked about the discipline earlier on in regards to these 2 sides, and it's coming to the fore now. KABRAS find themselves a man less, and none other than one of their more mercurial players,
Hilary Odhiambo, finding himself going to the bin. I mean, he stopped that quick tap and go. 5 meters out, that's a straight cynical play.
Well, the Pirates have possession in a good area. And Conrad Wanyama sends a bullet pass, trying to edge their way out. They're just meters away from the try. This is where the substitutes that have come in here for KABRAS will be tested. They are fresh. They need to keep their resolve and mental fortitude right at peak form. Pirates, bullet pass towards the center. They want to keep them away. Jeremiah Ojambo gets ever closer, inching in.
You have to retire back.
Yeah, KABRAS, very dicey play from them here. They might get themselves another yellow. This is going to be a team warning. This is going to be a team warning from Kevin Wambugu because of the repeated infringements in the red zone. As you hear there, the referee just laying down the warning. And they have to be wary now. This is where now STANBIC Pirates have to keep this into close quarter combat. They have to take it round the fringes, keep it tight, and cause some yellow card offense from KABRAS. Going down by 2 men, it'll give STANBIC an opportunity to just play the ball out wide and get themselves back onto the scoreboard. Good call here from STANBIC Pirates.
Well, they now look to get into that scrum, commit the numbers into that huddle, and then look for the small openings that they can, and hopefully it will be just enough to tilt the play back in their favor. Couple of fans up on their feet.
Play because of an injury.
Well, that's interesting, because that would be Ivan Kabagambe. Normally the man that would probably shift into that place is one who came off much earlier, as we see Kabagambe back onto his feet. And he walks back in, so the scrum will be formed.
Yeah, we saw from the substitutions made by KABRAS Sugar, the first scrum after the substitutions, there was an almighty shove from KABRAS Sugar. So Black Pirates have to weather these, survive this particular scrum, but they have the advantage of one more number in that KABRAS have a yellow card, so it's 7 against 8. However, some will argue that when you're attacking, the 8th man really doesn't put much shove because he's busy controlling the ball. So it will be an even 7 on 7. However, that dangerous ball carrier at the end of STANBIC Pirates, Alex and Turinda, very important for them here.
Timothy
this is going to be a try.
Spreading it all out wide. And that will definitely count as a try. Alan Karuhanga was away for the quarterfinals in injury, was unable to play in the semifinals due to exams. This is his first game in the Enterprise Cup, and he finally makes his mark.
Fantastic play there. Appreciating the numbers that they have in attack and swinging out those cutout pass, very long pass out to the wing. It was just a matter of when the dam will burst for KABRAS. You wouldn't survive defending for 10 minutes. Something has to give.
Well, Dukisa was very unhappy with the rest of his teammates in that instance and how they chose to defend. Just looking at Dukisa, man who has 2 try assists, 8 completed passes, 3 carries, but has had 0 success goal rate in the game so far. That is Dukisa, according to our stats from ISA Matrix.
Let me tell you something. I don't think I've ever seen a game where Dukisa hasn't converted. This will be something for the history books.
Let's go, boys.
I don't think I've ever seen him miss all his kicks in one match. And if STANBIC had to come back, they'll have to thank Dukisa for that.
Well, taking their time here at the moment, that is KABRAS. And not in a rush to get the game restarted. Just trying to weather down that clock and slow the momentum of the STANBIC Black Pirates. It's a decent kick, but one that yields very little in terms of KABRAS. They need to keep their head up. They need to stay in that hot momentum. Even at the moment, the fact that they've been on the back foot and the fact that they're numerically disadvantaged, you need to keep the Pirates at bay. Because if the Pirates sniff a sense of weakness, they'll come for blood. They'll go for the jugular.
Yeah, 11 minutes is a lot of time, especially when you're attacking against 14 men. And we've seen some inquisition going on there. Number 6, George Nyambua, just having a word with the back line and trying to ask them what happened in that last particular set piece where they considered a try. But nonetheless, Black Pirates are not waiting and hanging about, going through the motions. The dummy seller goes into contact, and they're building it from here, looking to spread out KABRAS 14 men in defense.
Hands off!
Well, back into that rock there, quickly formed, going headlong here. Now they are looking for brute strength, but they end up losing possession. The referee says infringement, though that might have left the Pirates slightly worse for the wear and tear. As Timothy Kisiga gets onto the ball to Shimwa. Shimwa, under pressure, manages to retain. Massa to Frank the Tank Kidega. Presents the ball. Conrad Wanyama will look to go back to the left flank. There's a player meanwhile on the ground receiving some medical attention and seems to be in real discomfort. Conrad Wanyama hyperextends himself, and Alan Karuhanga will once again hope to make that darting run towards the try. This time well covered. Sydney Haruna. The referee will call play as the ball is getting way too close to the man on the deck.
Kabras hanging on by the slimmest of margin here in defense, surviving and just trying to ride out that yellow card. 3 minutes remaining for that from that yellow card. Pinned in their own half. This is the time when the coach has to rely on those 12 Kenya team players who are in this Kabra setup. The experience has to start showing at this moment. Another try from STANBIC Pirates, and the last 5 minutes or so will be very tense in this match. We've not seen much from Kabras in terms of attack, except for that first try that they scored in this second half, and they have been pinned in their own half. Extended break as both teams trying to get their players checked, as we see another change from Kabras.
Well, looks like there will be 2 changes as well for the STANBIC Black Pirates, and that will be the introduction of none other than John Paul Atim, and that was Stephen Alul coming in. He's popularly known as Buju, as well as on the front row, Sunday Jaguar will also be extended into the game. Still trying to figure out which player is on the ground for the STANBIC Black Pirates, as there will be a change as well for KABRAS Sugar.
Yeah, Griffin Chow, number 14, leaving, and coming onto the pitch is Matthias Osimbo, going straight to the right wing. He also plays at scrum half position, an acquisition from Nakuru for Kabras. Fantastic, very fantastic player in terms of how he steps off both feet. So something that Kabras will want to exploit in this last minute as they give a run out. Max Adak, also number at the center pairing, broken this time round as
and there will be another
Bryson
substitute.
Adaka has left the pitch, and on comes Jackson Sketa. Jackson Sketa coming in, the youngster, under 20 youngster coming in, and we'll go to the back line.
Well, an extra change as well here as Nathan McDaniels Bwambale, aka Bajo, is taken out, and in his place comes Eric Mulamula. He's introduced into the fray. To be honest, speaking about a man Chow, Griffin, this has probably not been one of those games where his influence has been felt. He's normally a player that influences the games at times almost single-handedly. Today, just not one of those days.
Yeah, that's the story of the season for Griffin Chow. Hasn't done really much, a lot of disruptions here and there, and it shows also because, as you look at, and you've aptly put it, he's not been able to impact in this match. As you see there, just the replay of that try that came from the earlier forays by STANBIC, going all the way to scoring the corner flag and pulling themselves back into this match. The difference on the scoreboard, 13 points.
Well, the injured player is back onto his feet and will now have to walk off. Seems to be in quite the agony, more from the fact that he won't finish the game than rather from physical pain. There's also been a substitution as the team captain, Isaac Masanganzira Newton Chitio, has also been taken off. Well, the Pirates have had to contend with some big blows in terms of personnel, but they still have a couple of minutes to try and sort things out as they get the ball to Haruna Mohammed, who goes for the chip and chase and looking to get onto that ball.
Yeah, in goal touchdown there by KABRAS, defending that grabber kick. We have to anchor ourselves down for these last 9 minutes of the 87th edition of the Enterprise Cup. First cross-border in the 56 years that it's been missing. STANBIC Pirates, Black Pirates, coming all the way from Uganda, taking on KABRAS Sugar.
Picked up right at the halfway line by Timothy Kisiga. That's the reason they call him Mr. Safe Hands. To Alex Aturinda, tries to bulldoze his way past the 14-man squad. KABRAS holding on for dear life. Will not give the Pirates a chance to revive themselves in this contest. As Sydney Gongodio gets onto the ball, goes to the ground. Conrad Wanyama to Frank the Tanky Dega, looks to bamboozle his way. The defense still resolute, won't be shaken, but feeling the impact here. Kisiga attempts to take the run in himself. Mula supporting. And Wanyama right back to the center. Sunday Jaguar pushing the ball. It looks like there's a turnover here. And that's exactly what KABRAS really needed at this point. Instantly forcing the Pirates back onto defense. As we do get to see some of the floodlights coming on here, illuminating the way to another title here in the Enterprise Cup for KABRAS. And perhaps maybe just darkening the hopes of the Pirates fans. There's still plenty of time, still a lot of time to play, as we now get to see the introduction of Umar Daf and Stephen Alul Buju brought into the fray. To exit will be Conrad Wanyama, so it's a like for like. Stephen Alul will take his place. And for Umar Daf, well, still assessing, but I think that was the injury there, and that's why he gets to be brought in. In the meantime, for Kenya's representatives here, KABRAS Sugar Rugby Football Club, they do throw in Shem Joseph, who, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday celebrated his birthday.
Yes, indeed, he comes in for the yellow card, Hilario Odhiambo. So back to the full complement of 15 to usher out the last 6 minutes of this match, as that ball is not properly thrown and lost by KABRAS Sugar. KABRAS Sugar just lost momentum after that yellow card. They have been pinned, but time running out for STANBIC Pirates. You'll think here they have had the better share of possession and territory in the since that yellow card, but not being able to convert it. I think a little bit hurried. We saw the last time they were in the 22, Conrad did the right thing to bring the ball back to the left. However, the oncoming attacker was isolated, and then just 7 meters out, they turn over possession. A good snatch there by Teddy Akala, good jackal, and they have to start all over again.
Alex Aturinda with the ball, gets it on. That's a high tackle around the neck of Eric Mula, but play continues. Alex Aturinda, that pass was one made of desperation, and the Pirates will now be forced to go all the way back to the halfway line. KABRAS looking to take advantage here. And that is Stephen Alul Buju, spread out, set into the flank. Here comes Haruna Mohammed, makes the pass, and it will count as a knock-on, as we do get confirmation that the player that was injured is back in the stands, though at the moment sporting a sling, none other than Moses Ziwa.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Moses. Not what he would have imagined, having crossed the border to come and represent his club in their first outing, the first finals ever for STANBIC Black Pirates in this Enterprise Cup. Nonetheless, the remaining 15 players for STANBIC Black Pirates have to work hard to get themselves that scoreboard, not a proper reflection of the scores. It's still at 25-12 in favor of KABRAS. 13 points the difference if they can get 2 converted tries in these last 4 minutes. A tall order, but still doable, as we see new entrant the base of that track.
Well, earlier on we pointed out that KABRAS do tend to favor the 30 points scoreline when it comes to the finals here at the RFUEA grounds. It looks like maybe might have been A bit of us shooting our mouths a bit earlier. Score still at 25. Here at the moment it seems to read 30, but it is 25. They still have 5 to make up that ground for the Pirates hot on their heels.
Yeah, Pirates pushed back out of KABRAS half. KABRAS have just played streetwise rugby in this second half. They've just weathered the storm, defended well, slowed down the game, ensured that STANBIC Black Pirates are not able to have that quick flowing games that we saw in the first half. Also the changes made at number 10 by Black Pirates not working in their favor, no impact really from that positional aspect. They have not been able to control the game from that position. So some things working against Pirates, curtailing their momentum in this match.
Hefty challenge there as for the first time. The rolling maul not really coming in favor of KABRAS Sugar. And possession is lost here, underhanded. It's a knock-on, and that ball is won back by the STANBIC Black Pirates. They are in squeaky bum time right now. They need to find a way.
Yeah. Can you imagine them scoring right now and converting?
Oh,
that will really bring all the fans onto their feet here.
Let's go, last play. Let's go.
a couple of fans and players, to be honest, on that pitch look a bit jaded. And one of the substitutes who was brought on is on the ground, and that's the reason we have a stoppage in the clock, as there will be need here to have some medical attention dispatched now to none other than John Paul Atim.
Yeah, the game has been played in really fair fashion, in high spirits, and the fans who've turned out have been given value for money. The fans who've traveled all the way from Western Kenya, Kakamega, and also the local fans for KABRAS and the lovers of rugby have really had a nice outing. We've seen a fantastic match-up here between these two teams. Those who've traveled all the way from Uganda really have enjoyed their time. The last 78 minutes have been something memorable in terms of the Enterprise Cup.
Bind. Set.
Ball set in here by Stefan Alul. Gets it here. Do the Pirates still have the legs to carry them towards the try line? Conrad Wanyama out on the flank now. Was brought back in. Originally was supposed to have come off, but Ivan Kabagambe was swapped in there. So the little master of dark arts continues his play. And now the Pirates look to steamroll their way forward. Just trying to set the ball in a precarious position. Big hits here being served up by Ariho Muhumuza. Stefan Alul gets it on to Shimwa. Shimwa releases the ball, and the advantage is played here in favor of the KABRAS Sugar, who now look to go into ascendance. Looks to attack, but still has possession. KABRAS with one last final push here. One that could spell the difference in this game as settled or still contest. Puts the ball into touch. And there won't be need to keep pressing as it's all done and dusted. There have been questions on why some legacies last forever. It's because they're often tested and still found solid and locked in. Ladies and gentlemen, dynasties are not measured by victories alone, but they are measured by the qualities of the challenges they survive. The Black Pirates came into this game carrying belief, courage, and to be honest, all the hopes of an entire nation. But once again, the crown will return to Kakamega, where it has been rooted, as KABRAS Sugar Rugby Football Club stand alone at the summit of East African rugby. It's been quite the game. Elijah, I'll call you in here to just sum it up for us as we get to wrap up the broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to And all congratulations go to KABRAS Sugar for starting slow, weathering the storm from STANBIC Black Pirates, and then emerging to do a 5-peat of the Enterprise Cup, the only third team to do it in the 87-year history of this competition. And they go there, right up there into the history books as the apex of East African rugby for this year. As you look at STANBIC Black Pirates, they have really given a good account of themselves. They have taken on KABRAS, who still remain undefeated in the last 54 matches, and they have given a good account of themselves in terms of how they have played this match. If you ask me, they have enjoyed the fair share of territory. I will even say possession, but they have come and stuck against a very experienced KABRAS Sugar side who know how to win, who know how to close out matches, who know how to weather the storm and get themselves into the winning. They know only to win. But having said so, it's fantastic to see both teams, both countries producing clubs for this particular competition. We are looking forward to next year where we can have Tanzania joining the fray and we can have a real East African Enterprise Cup as it was fashioned to be.
Eugene Sifuna here getting his award as we get to wrap it up. It's been quite the performance, but finally it could actually be called a proper Enterprise Cup because Uganda is back in the fray. We're looking forward, like you did say, for Tanzania getting back in. Maybe then somebody will come head hunting and finally snatch the crown from KABRAS Sugar. But for now, the green and gold, the team that prides themselves on the sugarcane, have continued to prove that they will not yield, they will not break, and will continue to be victorious. Full time it is, and another crown here in the illustrious career of the KABRAS dynasty, a team that was not started so long ago, but continues to astound and mesmerize many as all. And there's the true essence of rugby, the brotherhood and the game sportsmanship, as there's an exchange of pleasantries, real pleasantries now. As the game is done, the battle is done and dusted. We get a glimpse of the Enterprise Cup trophy, the one that will once again, as has been for the last couple of years, hoisted up high by none other than KABRAS Sugar Rugby Football Club.
I know after these both countries going into the national setup for the 15s, we'll see the Elgon Cup being contested. And I wonder what STANBIC Black Pirates are going back to with the league back still in Uganda. Probably you can share on what the progress is. Yeah,
well, next week they will be up against the most decorated Uganda rugby club to date. That is the Platinum Credit Heathens in a two-legged affair in the playoffs, the semi-finals for the league, which the Pirates happen to be defending. And you could say, some might think, this might be the game that has given them a bit of the shake, because in the entire 2026, the Pirates have only lost once, and that was to the Platinum Credit Heathens. They now played KABRAS, which is always going to be a tall order. And in a week, you have to recover against the only team that has been able to get the better of you. Tall order, but if there's a team that should be up for it, it has to be the team that wants to defend its crown, as they have been shown a pleasant example here by the defending champions of Enterprise Cup.
Absolutely. Still all to fight for. The season is not yet over for STANBIC Black Pirates. As for KABRAS, these will be as much as the 15th season. This was the shutout for the 15th season, where they have emerged victorious in both codes. They moved to the 7th circuit, which starts a little bit earlier than the Uganda circuit. There they'll have to contend with a different mode, a different shape in opposition, but they have done well to get right there into the history books, doing a double in the last 5 editions of both the Kenya Cup and the Enterprise Cup. You have to give it to them.
Well, we also have to give it up to both rugby unions. That's the Kenya Rugby Union and Uganda Rugby, for once again taking the time to have discussions that were in a boardroom, on paper, and ultimately were executed and put onto the pitch. I must say, for the average East African rugby fan, it's been a tournament that you probably feel maybe we watched less of the games, aside from the quarterfinals, because each one was as memorable as they come.
Absolutely. And kudos to the sponsors who've been able to sponsor all the teams that have participated in the Enterprise Cup. We know the cost implications. We know what it does to the budget. But if you want to develop rugby in East Africa, that's the way to go. And it's a call to every other corporate that finds the opportunity to bring themselves into the fray. There is much to enjoy. If you look at the turnout of the crowd here, it can only get better. And we look to a situation where we'll be able to travel to participate in an Enterprise Cup final in Uganda, in Tanzania, and spread rugby back to where it was initially.
Well, if the discussions that were held are anything to go by, we may not have to wait too long. 2027, we'll probably see the finals on the other side. And maybe we could see that in 2028. It is the president of the STANBIC Black Pirates, Daniel Obote Chanowera, who will have now to present the trophy to the team that is victors, to a team whose hands are quite familiar with the feel of that particular trophy, the Enterprise Cup, as Eugene Sifuna picks it up here once again for KABRAS Sugar. Ladies and gentlemen, your champions for the Enterprise Cup 2026. As it was, so it is once again. KABRAS Sugar Rugby Club victorious once again.
Yeah, we let you savor the moments there for KABRAS. Used to winning, but still have that joy in getting one more cup, because in this one, they had to dig in deep. They didn't have it easy, and they will be the first ones to acknowledge the challenge that was posed by STANBIC Black Pirates throughout the game.
Well, it's been a spectacular event for us and a spectacular tournament altogether for all who have been following all the way from where the games actually got underway. It's been fun, it's been exhilarating, it's been interesting, and we're looking forward to the Enterprise Cup 2027 and whether KABRAS will turn a 6-peat into 7. For now, we'll leave you with the celebrations on my own behalf, Jermaine Egesa and Elijah, who have been on the commentary, and on behalf of the rest of the broadcast crew, the technical team, the directors, and the camera crew. We'll leave you with the jubilations of the green and gold. It's a wonderful evening, and continue enjoying East African rugby.
Is in the semis, played the cup final. KABRAS fans, tafadhali. KABRAS fans.
Alright, we're now awarding the runners-up for the Enterprise Cup Finals from across the border, from Kampala, Uganda, the STANBIC Black Pirates. They write another beautiful history here at the Enterprise Cup Finals 2026. A hearty congratulations to your STANBIC Black Pirates.
The Pirates will go home with the silver and also a smile on their faces, ladies and gentlemen. It was a long 80 minutes, hard work. There is, of course, next year's Enterprise Cup, where they'll look to make right the wrongs of this year. They received their medals from Director Leslie Njenga Mongale, our Director in charge of fixtures, and of course the Chair, KABRAS Sugar RFC. Immediately after this, we will have the Uganda Rugby, the Pirates President Daniel Obote awarding Edwin Esilaba a medal immediately after this. Ladies and gentlemen, your runners-up, the STANBIC Pirates!
And a big thank you to the Sables and Yabos that have been here to cheer their home team, the STANBIC Pirates, under the head coach of Coach Javi Odongo, writing another beautiful history here in this Enterprise Cup Finals 2026. Thank you so much, our brothers and sisters across the border, all the way from Kampala, the STANBIC Black Pirates.
All right, Edwin Esilaba, please remain at the center there. Thank you so much, Pirates. Congratulations, Pirates. Thank you. Commissioner, to kindly, that is citing Commissioner. All right, Match Commissioner. Tournament doctor, I'd like to ask Jenny Kilonzo to kindly remain on. Our tournament doctor, Ladies and gentlemen, James, in charge of the medical department and making sure that the players are well taken care of. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for James Onyege. All right, time now for the number Next up, ladies and gentlemen, will be the Mwamba Cup winners, and giving that trophy and medals would be Uganda Rugby Vice President Eric Mutime, joined by Director Leslie Njenga Wangale. Remember to grab your tickets for the Drift Road Sevens. Mombasa will be hosting us in the Sport Pesa National 7th Circuit. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mombasa RC.
Happy?
Right after these, you're requesting the Eastern Cougars to make their way as the winners, the Model Cup 2026.
Second in the championship league, falling to the eventual winners, Mwamba RC in the final, but qualifying to play in the Kenya Cup League next season. Have gone home with a trophy this season. They won this year's Mwamba Cup, and the entry is, as you can see, and of course, Director Leslie Njenga Wangale. The sports director Moses Oden. Moses, congratulations, J1 have done a super job this year. I'm pretty sure you're really proud of all the boys. season.
Kwa mtu mwingine kidogo. Ronin ni kama missionary.
So I'd like to ask Johnny Kilonzo to remain on stage to award our sighting commissioner of the day, ladies and gentlemen. That would be Joyce, famously known as JJ. Madam Sighting Commissioner. Hey.
Ronin ndio imeisha moto. Sawa.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your Mwamba Cup winners. Let's hear it for the Jacob Cougars. Thank you so much, Johnny. I'd like you to remain on stage. We will be awarding our sighting commissioner. Congratulations, and we wish you all the best this season as you head into shorter version of the 7th season, and of course looking forward to next year's tournament with you on board. Our final award, Director Johnny Kilonzo on stage to award our sighting commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, the lady from Mwamba RC, give it up for JJ. All right. Thank you so much, Director Kilonzo. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the tail end of the 2026 Kenya Rugby Union calendar with the award of the Mwamba Cup and Enterprise Cup. We'd like to thank each and every one of you who's come through, the teams that have taken part this